Hey, it's Peter Voogd again, and welcome to YEL 2.0. Whether you're watching on my YouTube channel or you're listening through my podcast, thank you for tuning in and thank you for subscribing. We really have continued to try to over-deliver and give you guys massive, tactical, valuable content. So hopefully you're taking what we're teaching and you're executing and you're actually seeing results, because that's the end goal for us, is to make sure you're improving your life and business and your bottom line results, whether that's health, whether that's wealth, whether that's results for your business, whether it's more clients, whether it's getting paid a higher fee, whether it's transitioning out of a normal 9-to-5 into entrepreneurship. We want to help you. So if you've been following along, we've been talking about, we've been breaking down the different chapters in my book, 6 Months to Six Figures. So we've talked about the confidence account, absolute clarity, mastery versus overload. And I think this next one's a very important one. We talked about money matters, and make sure if you haven't listened to the previous ones, to give you context of leading up to this chapter, I'd recommend stopping this and going back and listening to the other ones before you dive in. So this one is, we talked about the confidence account last time, like how you need to not just have confidence, but have certainty in what you're doing. And I gave you the biggest breakthroughs I've had in confidence, mental toughness, and just being more emotionally intelligent, right? Once I started understanding my confidence and doing things purposely to increase that confidence, because like I said, everyone has a confidence account inside them, and based on that account is exactly where you are. Now, whether you love where you are right now and you're excited about your results, you're excited about your bank account or not, that's exactly where you need to be to level up and take that next set of actions, okay? So this chapter is called Shifting Your Circle of Influence, Chapter 8. And there comes a point in your life when you realize who really matters, who never did, and who always will. And I start off in this chapter by talking about a story of me. I had a 450 square foot apartment. I had no furniture, box springs. I was stressed out and discouraged with no money. And I kept thinking to myself, like, I can't live like this. I was putting in 60, 70, 80 hours a week and I wasn't seeing the results. And I just was going through my notes from other seminars I've been to and from different conferences. And I came across a quote that really shifted my perspective. In that moment, I needed this quote. And it was, if you want to be a billionaire, talk to millionaires. Or if you want to be a millionaire, talk to billionaires. You'll get there quicker. Now, it doesn't literally mean talk to billionaires because they're hard to get a hold of. It means if you want to get to a certain level, talk to people at a higher level than that. And I realized in that moment, everybody I was connecting with was at my level or worse. And they were telling me it was okay to be stressed out. It was okay to be broke. It was okay to be living how I was living. And I knew it wasn't okay because I didn't like to feel that insecure and feel that trapped and feel like I have no choices. So that was the moment that I made a decision that I had to shift my circle of influence. So I want to give you guys some exercises. I want to break through what I've learned since writing this chapter, as well as the importance of your circle of influence. So it hit me like a ton of bricks that I needed to elevate my circle of influence, because I realized if you hang out with 5 confident people, you'll be the 6th. If you hang out with 5 intelligent people, you'll eventually be the 6th. If you hang out with 5 millionaires, it's inevitable you'll be the 6th. But if you hang out with 5 idiots, what do you think is going to happen? What if you hang out with 5 broke people? What if you hang out with 5 alcoholics? Who do alcoholics hang out with? Of course, that's why when people go to rehab or something happens, they have to get rid of all their circle of influence and elevate it to people who don't drink, right? And obviously it's unique talking about that situation with this, but it's the same thing. You have to understand. So the first step for me was evaluating who I was around and how they were affecting my thinking, my standards, my actions, my philosophies, and things like that. Because once I understood that was the challenge and that was the reason, the underlying factor of why I was where I was, I could finally change it. Because the only thing that really changes your life is the people you meet and the connections you develop along the way. And I want to say this very, very confidently. Your circle of influence will make or break you. Period. There's no in between. And the mistake people make is they have an incongruent circle of influence and they're not placing a big enough emphasis on networking. Remember, I talked about in one of my other videos, experience is becoming irrelevant, right? Where you're from is irrelevant. Age is irrelevant. What really matters now is networking and circle of influence. This is why I know 40 and 50-year-olds that are broke and 19-year-olds making $500,000 to $1 million, because they've elevated their circle of influence and they're hanging out with other people who have leveled up as well, okay? So I talk about the benefits of networking. I'm not going to dive in right now because I want to make this more tactical, but shared knowledge, there's new opportunities, there's increased income and awareness, there's cutting your learning curve in half, it's raising your social profile, raising awareness, and the law of anticipation is very present here, which means you can anticipate what's next if you have a mentor or a network that's already been where you want to go, so you can cut your learning curve in half, right? Association is so crucial. Here's some interesting stats. If your friend's obese, you're 157% more likely to gain weight. If your friend smokes, you probably do. Each unhappy friend and friend that's always stressed out or validating why they are where they are, maybe they've settled. I'm not saying these are good or bad people, but if you're getting mad at me talking about people being unhappy or cutting off people that are toxic, this is not for you, right? You want to turn this off. But I'm guessing you're here because you really do want to understand how to get to that next level and why so many people are trapped right now. Each unhappy friend decreases your chances of being happy 7%. This is in Forbes, by the way. Okay, your friend's marriage is ending, the chance of divorce increases 75%. If you don't have many social ties, you have twice the risk of dying from heart disease. If your friends talk drama, you're more likely to talk drama. So there's all kinds of these crazy stats that at first I didn't believe, but then I really dove in and spent a year plus researching the importance of this, and it really, really affected me. So under circle of influence, you have to evaluate, like I said, who are you spending the most time with and how are they influencing you? Then what I did is I created a make it or break it list, because this is not just about people you work with. Who are you around the most? There's friends, there's coworkers and people that you connect with through the work and job. There's family, and there's people that you associate with on a daily basis. So you have to figure out where they're at, right? People always ask me about my book, 6 Months to Six Figures, and how I did it. Like, give me the real secrets. First of all, if you want a magic pill, you're never going to become successful, because it takes strategy, it takes intention, it takes execution, it takes time and patience and the right action. But the bottom line is I was dead broke and my circle of influence was dead broke. I totally transformed that, and I started making a list of people in my company that were making $500,000 plus. Now, I had to be persistent, and what's cool about this chapter is I give you the exact, where's it at? I give you the exact script I use. I was hesitant to give this out, but I'm glad I did, because there's so many people have got a hold of Tim Ferriss, Mark Cuban, Gary Vaynerchuk, Eric Thomas, the CEO of some pretty big companies, Ariana Huffington. They literally email me and say this script worked exactly. It's in my book. So, by the way, the book's on Amazon, Audible. It's also at sixfiguresbook.com. You can buy bulk. But I give the exact script I use to reach out to not just people in my company, but influencers. So here's the deal. I reached out to people, and I got a list of like 4 or 5 people that finally agreed to connect with me, and they were making $500,000+. I just connected with them. I asked them what I should do next, what I was doing wrong, what to anticipate, what schedule to focus on, what their time management tasks, what their best time management tips were. And then eventually I was able to make my first 100K in 6 months. Think about it. It's inevitable. I'm broke, but I'm talking with only people who make 500,000 in the same company. It's inevitable I'm going to make 6 figures. Now, when I was making 6 figures, I started only connecting with people that were making 7. It's inevitable I was going to make 7 figures. Don't complicate success. You have to shift from complexity to simplicity, because complexity is the enemy of all execution. It's not that difficult to elevate your circle of influence. Find a mastermind, join a networking community, but you have to create your make it or break it list, okay? So for me, the 5 people that I was around that were kind of maintenance friends, that dragged me down, that didn't think bigger, that didn't want big dreams and goals. Maybe they've already given up on their dreams. By the way, never let someone who has already given up on their dreams talk you out of yours. So I made a list. Maybe these are people that you feel bad for not hanging out with because you've known them since middle school or high school, or whatever. Then I made a list on the other side of my 5 growth friends, friends that challenged me, friends that made me think bigger, friends that made me feel like I could run through walls and gave me confidence. Now, these are people, some of them I didn't even know yet, but I wanted to get to know them. So I made a list of my 5. Some of them are just from online. It doesn't matter. And here's the simple exercise I did that I didn't realize was an exercise at the time, but now I realize this totally transformed my quality of thinking and quality of results in life. And I just lowered the time I spent with my growth maintenance friends, and I increased the time I spent with my growth friends, with studying their stuff, with talking to them on the phone, with connecting with them. Weekends, I hung out with them, not my maintenance friends. And slowly, my philosophy, my beliefs, my confidence, my certainty started going up, and my doubts and fears started going down. And that's really what changed the game for me. So create your make it or break it list, right? Another mistake people make when they do reach out to people is they don't have a strategy or an approach when reaching out, okay? So here's the deal. The most important aspect on the planet for anybody is time. People value their time, and the more successful you become, the more you understand the value of time, and the more you don't waste it. You'll find most unsuccessful people not valuing their time, and if you don't value your time, nobody else will. So what's the thing that successful people value most, even more than money? Time. What's the number one thing people ask for when they reach out? Can I have your time? So it's a really unintelligent way to reach out. So I give a totally different approach in this book on reaching out to people. So when they actually get your email or your message, they say, wow, this person's different. I'm actually going to give them some time. That's why it's so important as well, okay? So when you're planning your week, I've incorporated this now where I've realized the importance of networking and building my relationships with high-level people. And now I've been able to connect with all kinds of people, from an Elon Musk to a Tim Ferriss to a Tony Robbins to a Ryan Blair's a good friend of mine, Ariana Huffington, Tim Grover, who was Michael Jordan's trainer, Andy Frisella, all kinds of people, right? Ed Milet, Grant Cardone's a good friend of mine. I'm going to see him in Miami in a couple weeks. So it's because I made a conscious choice. So when I plan my schedule, now, most people write their goals, they write their schedule, they look at their vision. That's only half the battle. So one half is what you want to accomplish and what your goals are, like your top 3, top 5 professional, personal goals, like how to speed up the process and make sure that you have your reasons. But that's only half the battle. Here's where you can be ahead of most people. Half is the tactics and what you want. Half is who you're going to connect with that can help cut your learning curve in half and actually get to your goals quicker. So when I make my schedule, I realize that half of it is tactics, what I want, why I want it. The other half is who I need to connect with. So always ask who when you're writing your schedule, who you can connect with that can help cut your learning curve in half. Here's a big breakthrough I've had since writing this book. There's always an answer. I used to bang my head against the wall thinking, I gotta find the answer. You don't have to have the answer 99% of the time. And if you bang your head against the wall, you're going to be more stressed and harder to find the answer. There's always someone, you should always have a network of people that have the answer. So for me, I never have the answer anymore on how to scale my business this way, how to go this way, how to reach out to this person, how to leverage this or technology. If I need something, I have my network to connect with and they can connect me with the right person. So there's always a solution and you don't have to know it. That's the importance of network. The biggest mistake I made when growing my business at the beginning was I had Superman syndrome and I thought I had to know everything myself. I was trying to do editing and marketing and branding and sales and all the technical stuff and organizational stuff and all the books. Oh my gosh. And here's what's scary about trying to do it all yourself. You start resenting things that you used to love. So even your strengths, even the things that you should be really good at that you love, you start to resent those and get burnt out because you're doing everything else. So this is very deadly, which is why it's so important to delegate and find the right people to help you delegate the specific things. So if someone can do something 80% as good as you, delegate that, period, right? Extremely important. So, I also have a stat in here. And by the way, I promised myself when I was doing this series just to come from the heart, the gut. I don't care if I mess up. I'm giving up the need to be perfect to be authentic. So many people want these perfectly edited videos. Just be yourself, right? I don't have an exact script. I just wanted to give you the value that I was trying to portray in the book to you if you're a visual learner or someone that likes videos. And then you can also read the book too. But I talked about, it was in Success Magazine. They asked their most successful achievers a very simple question. What's been their biggest secret to improving their results? Results, like the bottom line results. 22% waking up earlier. 22% making a plan. 16% writing down your goals. 3% delegating, and there's a couple more, but 37% learning from other achievers. 37% learning from other achievers. So who are you spending the most time with? And do you have a plan in place and a system in place and rituals in place to make sure that every single week you're not just asking what you want to get done, but who to connect with to make sure you get your most important tasks done as effective and efficiently as possible? I also talk about, which I'm not going to go through here, expanding your currency and adding value. One of the top questions I get from people is, how do I reach out to influencers if I don't have any value to give? This gives you a bunch of ideas on how to expand your value, how to become more valuable, and how to turn your skills, your connections, your expertise, or you can broker deals with other people, but everything I teach will help you become more valuable and expand your currency to whoever you're reaching out to. Very, very key. I also talk about how to accelerate every interaction when you're connecting with people. I talk about how to create your ideal script. Let me give you some ideas on how to expand your value and worth. Contacts. So you don't have to know other people, but if you know someone that could get value from this person, you could say, hey, I'd love to connect you with Grant Cardone because I feel like you guys will make a great team, and he has this knowledge, you have this audience. Make that, broker that deal and connect. You can even make money doing that. Capital, pay them if you have to. Some people like just to get paid for their time. Pay them. Expertise and knowledge. Maybe you have a specific skill and specific skill set. One of the reasons I connected with Ryan Blair is he wanted me to help him with specific. He's a brilliant business mind, but he wanted me to help him with one thing he wasn't good at, and I helped him. We became friends. Maybe introduce him to a new audience, a bigger reach. You can barter deals. If you can reduce their suffering at all. One of the easiest ones is taking action before you reach out. So anytime someone reaches out to me, let's say 100 people reach out to me, 98 of them have the same approach and they're cutting corners. I don't want to give them any time because I could just tell they're copy and pasting or they're just not the real deal. There's always 2 or 3 that say, Peter, I've already reviewed your book on Amazon. Thank you so much. I bought a couple copies for friends, or I appreciate you. I wanted to share some of your stuff with my audience. It's not as big as yours, but I'd love to be able to share this. What do you have coming up? So if people reach out already taking an action, like they already reviewed my book, that shows they've taken an action and they're somewhat the real deal because they're action takers. So before you reach out to anybody, give value. It's a new economy. Value first, always. Expecting things without giving value is dead. It's an old way to do business, and those businesses that expect that are going to die in the next 5 years. Okay. I also give some networking ideas, and obviously you guys know about my academy. Some of you guys are already in the academy. We've created the premier networking community on the planet for people that really want to level up who they're around. So it gives you kind of a $1 million network overnight, as well as resources, guidance, training materials, and you have guest speakers every single month. I'm not going to sell you on it. You can apply. You have to actually apply. It's gamechangersmovement.com. And I'm not sure when this video is going to come out, but we're making some big changes, and it's going to be even more tactical and dynamic and helpful and powerful in this 2019. So I'm excited. Anyone that applies, I'm excited to connect with you and see if it's a good fit. But just the awareness of understanding the importance of networking is the key, right? So if you understand that if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, you want to make sure that you're not just aware of the importance and you kind of figure out the ideal network around you, but also consistently be networking. right? So at the beginning, it's 70-30. 70% you should be working in the business and grinding and hustling. 30% you should be on the business, networking, live events, getting in masterminds, conferences, being strategic. Then it flips. You should eventually only be networking 10, 15% of the time because the business is running itself, right? Or sorry, flip that. You should be networking, connecting, and just reaching out to people and having a great lifestyle on your terms 70% of the time, and be in the business 30% of the time. So it flips when you start creating those systems, right? Always be involved in a high-level community or mastermind. Connect with game changers weekly and create your Fab 5 mastermind group. One thing I talk about is how to create your Fab 5, where you're creating a mastermind group that has high-level people in it, and you're maybe facilitating that as well. We do that throughout the academy too. So that's really it. The importance of networking is a game changer, all right? And for you, when you read the book, it'll give you some action steps and tactics, but the bottom line is your network's going to make or break you. And do you have a network that's congruent to your end results for the next 6 to 12 months? If you want to make 6 figures, how many people in your network already make 6 or 7? If you want to get 7, how many people are making 8, right? And if you're thinking, well, I need to know how to get a hold of them, that's what's in the book, right? So thanks again. Let me know maybe a networking tip that you've learned, or something that you've done to elevate your circle of influence, or simply just a breakthrough you've had from this video, or from a networking book, or from a circle of influence type course or book that you can share below and give value to other people from. Sound good? So thank you once again to subscribing to the YEL podcast and to YouTube. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be in the comments below, but definitely let me know the biggest networking tip or takeaway you've gotten, and let's start some conversation below. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk soon.